Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Hines from Our Paleo Family and the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club, and I usually show you recipes, all sorts of recipes, some using the Instant Pot, some not. I'm not an Instant Pot channel, I am a paleo cooking channel, so for those of you who are interested in managing your autoimmune disease or other chronic health condition with diet and lifestyle, I would love to help you with that. That is really what my passion is. However, several years ago, I made a pot roast video when I was first trying out my Instant Pot, and it became super popular. So a lot of people do come to me for Instant Pot recipes, and I do genuinely love my Instant Pot, and we use it all the time, like 3, 4, 5 times a week. I use it tons. So I'm going to do an Instant Pot 101 video. Instant Pot for beginners, Instant Pot for Instant Pot scaredy cats. Those of you that maybe got an Instant Pot for Christmas, congratulations. Or maybe you picked one up on a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday special. Maybe you've had an Instant Pot for a while and it's just been sitting on your shelf because you're afraid of it. You don't know what to do with it. Well, hopefully I can demystify some of that for you today and show you how wonderful your Instant Pot is and how you can really make it work for you. Okay, so first of all, congratulations on your Instant Pot. I think you're going to love it. Your Instant Pot may look a little bit different from mine. Mine is 3 years old. This is the Duo. It'll say right here what it is. Mine's the Instant Pot Duo. It's the 6 quart. There are quite a few different variations now. The buttons on the front will look different. Sometimes the buttons say something different. Sometimes the buttons are in a different place. There's a very fancy one where this is a digital display and it has a big dial down here. On some of them, your knob here looks different. However, the basic functionality is the same, and kind of the tips and things I'm going to, the tips and tricks and simple, how to use it will apply no matter which Instant Pot you have. People do ask me a lot which size I recommend, and I'm super happy with the 6 quart. I'm a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 teenagers, and the 6 quart is great for us. I usually make a meal with enough leftovers for 1 or 2 lunches afterwards. I can fill this up to the max fill line, we'll talk about that in a second, to make broth, and I get, tons of broth out of it. I find the 6 quart is great for my family. If you have a super huge family, or if you are often feeding extra people, or you're often doubling recipes to freeze some, you might prefer the 8 quart. It is bigger, so you need more storage space, or just be content with it sitting out on your counter. But I'm really happy with the 6 quart. It has been great. The only one time I wish I had a bigger one was when I made a whole ham at Easter, but that was very unusual. I did it the one time for the video. Otherwise, I just buy little tiny hams. So the 6 quart is perfect for us. Okay, so when you unpackage your Instant Pot, it's going to come with a few things. Some of them, again, slightly different from different version of the Instant Pot, one to the next, but this is the Instant Pot, this is the pot, and this is the liner pot. They all come with that stainless steel liner. You'll get a couple books. There's the instruction manual, user manual, and maybe some recipes where half of it will be in Chinese, and you can look at the pretty pictures and decide if you want to try those recipes. I haven't made any of their recipes. However, this one, the manual, so I'm not big on reading manuals. It's not my favorite thing to do. I typically skip it if I can at all. But I would definitely look through this. It looks big and intimidating, but most of it is not in English, so you really only have to read a few pages, okay? Your recipe book, I thought it was in that one, but it's in this one. The recipe book, once you get through the recipes, again, that's how mine is set up. There are these tables that kind of give you, again, it's all a guideline because they don't have amounts in here. So if I want to know if I'm cooking something I've not cooked before, let's say I have a pork butt roast, it says 45 to 50 minutes, but it doesn't say a 2-pound pork roast or a 8-pound pork roast. is my roast frozen, is my roast thawed. So very much a guideline, but it will really help you because you might look at vegetables and think, oh yeah, you know, I want to cook some carrots, and it says 1 to 2 minutes. Really? Who would think you could cook something in 1 to 2 minutes? But you really can with the Instant Pot. So the little charts in the cookbook are helpful. Yours will probably come with a couple utensils. This is a ladle. This is a rice paddle. I've never used these honestly, but they have a hook, which looks like you could hang it somewhere, but there's no place to hang it. And what it's for is releasing the pressure. If you want to do a quick release, so it'll be sealing. This just fits right on here and you can push it. However, these aren't very long, so I wouldn't recommend that, but they do work that way if you choose to do that, okay? So it'll come with a couple of these. It'll come with a trivet. Some of the trivets look a little bit different than this one, but it'll come with a trivet, which is great for hard boiling eggs, which I'm going to show you how to do. We're going to demonstrate the Instant Pot by making some eggs. If you want to cook a roast, something where you don't want it to touch the element at the bottom, this is great for that. I don't use it too terribly often, honestly. When I cook a roast, I just put it right down in there. I have lost mine, but your Instant Pot will also come with a little plastic measuring cup to measure water, rice, beans, that sort of thing. You can use your own measuring cups, but it comes with one. And also there's a little flat plastic cup that sits right here. It's a condensation catcher, and mine has come off at some point and I couldn't find it, and it just snaps right in, and mine has never caught any condensation whatsoever. So you can put it on, you cannot put it on, and you'll probably be perfectly fine. But you'll have yours when you just get it out of the box. Just snap it on and leave it there. If for some reason you get some condensation in yours, which can come from, some people say storing your lid, but look, if I store my lid, my condensation is not falling in there. Maybe if you just open it like this, condensation would come down in. I don't know. In all the many, many ways I've used my Instant Pot, there was never anything in there, but it does pop on and off easily, so you can wash it out, stick it back on. So hang on to that when it comes out, but if you lose it like I did, don't worry about it. Some of the Instant Pots, the cord is permanently attached, and some come off like mine, which is, I like it because it's really stiff cord, and so it makes it much more simple to store it. A lot of people have trouble, believe it or not, getting their Instant Pot to come on, and they've just not plugged it in all the way. So just make sure you attach that piece and then plug it into your wall outlet. Before we get into using the Instant Pot, I just wanted to show you a couple accessories that I have that are great. There are tons. If you just Google Instant Pot accessories, there are all sorts of things. And there are a couple that I highly recommend. One is the glass lid for using the slow cooker function. It was probably a year and a half before I really embraced the slow cooker function on the Instant Pot because it is slow. It is not as powerful as your standalone slow cooker, but it has a couple amazing advantages over a regular slow cooker. The main one being the saute function. Instead of brown your meat on the stove and then transfer it to your crock pot, you can brown it right in here. Do all your prep cook, then turn on the slow cook function and put your lid on. When you're pressure cooking, when it's cooking, you cannot take your lid off. You can't see what's going on in there. You can't taste it. You just got to trust that it's working properly and it's going to taste okay. With the slow cook, just like your regular slow cooker, you can just take your lid on and off, stir it, taste it. It's really great. For a long time, I just put a piece of aluminum foil around. You cannot use this with the slow cooker function. You can just set it, I'm just going to set it on. The Instant Pot will not know what I'm doing. I'm just going to set it right there. It will go beep, 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 error. It will not like that. It doesn't want this lid on when you're in slow cooker function. Okay, so you need a separate lid, a glass lid, or just put a piece of foil on. Though This I think cost $10 when I bought it. I just linked it in a video recently and I think it was up to 12 or 13. This is the Instant Pot version, which I bought because it was not expensive and I knew for sure it would fit and work well with my pot. If you choose this, again, make sure you choose the lid that goes with the size of your Instant Pot. Highly recommend this, not expensive. If you want to mess around with any sort of baking in your Instant Pot, which I don't think I have ever posted this recipe, but I made so we're all paleo, so it's all gluten-free, all dairy-free. That's not true. Paleo is dairy-free, but I don't do 100% dairy-free, and this particular recipe was not dairy-free. Sticky toffee pudding with it like a salted caramel sauce. So good. So good and so easy in the Instant Pot, and it comes out beautifully. It's just that great sort of moist, cakey texture. Really good. But you need a pan to cook in. I have used, so this is a 6-inch springform pan. I bought a nice quality one that had great reviews for not leaking. However, I still will usually put a little foil collar around the bottom, just in case. I have made the sticky toffee pudding, scalloped potatoes. That video is up. That's a really good recipe, actually. Any sort of baked casserole type thing, you need a pan like this. So you put your trivet in. You still have to put some liquid in the bottom. Always, always, always liquid in the bottom. It cooks by building up pressure from the steam from the liquid. So you have to have liquid in there, and then you can put your pan in, and it's a little bit, if you just set it down and it's going to kind of tilt to the side. You just need to mess around with it for a second and get it stable, which you can, trust me. It's easier when there's something in it, okay? And then it'll be, now this will all be hot after it's been under pressure, and but you can use little hot pads and just pull it out. But this trivet, I don't know if you can see this, has this little indentation right here. So as it fits in, there is this little space. This will be hot as well, but it's not flat up against the inside of the pot, so it makes it a little bit easier to get out. So I like this if you want to really experiment with all sorts of different things. Of course, cheesecake is the most common thing that people would make in this pan, and I have not had a successful cheesecake baking experience in my Instant Pot. Mine always overflow and make a huge mess. But people do it. I've watched the videos. These are these little silicone cups for making like little quiches, like little quiche bites. And those are really fun. You can find recipes for that. I haven't done one yet. I just use other people's recipes, but I'll give those a go. And you put them in, you put water in the bottom, just like always, put your trivet in, stack these up, and they cook away just a few minutes, and you pull those out. So those are some accessories. Let's step through how the Instant Pot works by actually using it. So I'm going to plug it in. Okay, so what happened? It beeped, number one, and it says off. So some people think it says off, but it's lit up. It has to be really on. Well, it's not. There's power going to the device, but it's not on. It's not heating up in any way. So if you are one of those people who likes to leave your appliances out on your counter and plugged in all the time, don't worry that it's actually on. It's really not on. There just is power to the device. I hope that makes sense. However, I always just unplug mine and put it away. I don't want it. I don't think it's that pretty. I don't want it on my counter all the time. Okay, so some people don't like the beeps. It will beep and make all sorts of noises. Some people find that irritating. Some dogs find that irritating. So if you don't like the beeping, you can just hold this minus button. Okay, it didn't beep. It says S off, which means sound off. And then you say, oh man, I think I really do want the sound on because it tells me when it's done. So you just push the plus button for a few seconds and it will go away and you heard it beeped. Okay, so the sound is back on. So minus button to turn the sound off, plus button to turn the sound back on. Let's just cover a few of the basic buttons and then we'll use it. So up here in this little square, they have this outline, are all of these different types of food that you can cook. Soup, meat stew, beans, chili, porridge. Most of us are not having porridge these days, but That's okay. Maybe the Instant Pot people like porridge. I never use those. They're simply presets. The Instant Pot people have decided what they think the ideal cooking pressure level and time is for each of these things. But they don't know how much you're making. Are you making 8 pounds of meat or 1 pound of meat? Are you making 6 cups of porridge or 1 cup of porridge? So these presets I don't find to be particularly helpful, and I would recommend that you not use them. All of my recipes, I use the manual button and adjust the time, and 99.9% of other recipes I've seen are exactly the same. The exception is the yogurt button, and I hate yogurt, so I don't make yogurt, but I know that a lot of people do, and they say that the Instant Pot does yogurt perfectly. You're going to want to, what did I do with my books? You're going to want to read your instructions, maybe look up a YouTube video or two, and use that yogurt button, okay? Otherwise, we use slow cook, saute, manual. Of course, this is the off, keep warm, cancel, which is off, adjust, and the plus and minus, okay? Pressure, I never use pressure because pressure will switch between low and high pressure, and I never, ever, ever cook on low pressure. I've never seen a recipe that called for low pressure. I'm sure there are some. Simply follow the instructions in the recipe that you're making. But I can't think of an instance where you would want low pressure. And like I said, I've never seen one. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I've never adjusted the pressure. It's not super common. Okay. Like I said before, saute is an amazing feature. I use it almost every single time I cook in here because it lets you, say I'm going to make soup, I turn on saute, I put my oil in, and I start chopping my vegetables. I chop my onions, I put them in, I chop my mushrooms, I put them in, and it's getting them started cooking and sometimes getting a little browning if I let it go, which is a delicious flavor. Definitely use that, and then you get the little fond that builds up on the bottom, then you add your liquid and deglaze it, and you have this delicious dish from using the saute function. You don't have to, but I do highly recommend it. And then say you've pressure cooked and your food is done and you want like a gravy. Say you've made like a pot roast and you want gravy. Well, your liquid in there is not going to be gravy consistency. You can take out your meat, you can scoop out your vegetables, put them on your platter, keep those warm, turn saute back on, add your thickener, your liquid will boil, and you make your gravy right in there. So I often use saute at the beginning and also again at the end, and it works beautifully. Love it. Saute has 3 levels: less, normal, and more. And that means low, medium, and high. This is Instant Pot speak: less, normal, and more. So I want to saute, I press the saute button, and it's on less. I have about 10 seconds to hit this adjust button to get it up to more. I usually use more because I'm just working quickly. It is pretty high, so bear that in mind. If you're a person who's going to get distracted, if you've got little ones at your feet, you might want to keep it on the less or normal so it gives you a little bit of flexibility to get called away. But my kids are older and I don't have pets or anything that are demanding my attention, so when I'm ready to cook, I'm ready to cook, and I put it on more because it's just faster. Now, say you turn it on and it's on less and you're like, why? It's not cooking very fast. I really want it to cook faster. So then you try to adjust it. Oh, it says on. I'm too late. I can't adjust it anymore. You're going to have to cancel. No big deal. Just hit cancel. It resets. Then hit it again, and now you can adjust. You have about 10 seconds to make your adjustments. And then if you need to adjust, no problem. Just hit cancel and then redo it. And you notice it switched from off to 30 minutes. 30, right, is what it said. And it made sort of a clicking sound. So that's how you would adjust. I'm trying to think of what else I use. Oh, slow cook. When you turn on slow cook, it sets to whatever time you had last time, and you adjust your time with the plus and minus. So, and again, it has the levels, so you can do, I waited too long. Okay, So I want to slow cook on more, which generally is what I want to do. But say I really am going to be gone for 12 hours, so I want it on low or less. So I adjust it to less, and I want 12 hours. So I just go, it goes up by 30 minutes at a time. Okay, again, after 10 seconds, it'll kind of set. But with slow cook, it's super flexible. You can add more time, take more time away in the middle of the cooking process. Because I don't have anything in there, I don't want the heating element on for a long time, so I keep canceling it out pretty quickly. And once it's done cooking, whether it's slow cook or pressure cook, it will keep warm until you turn it off. So say you set it for 12 hours, but you got stuck in traffic and you were really gone for 12 and a half hours, don't worry, your food is not going to be cold when you get home. It'll be on keep warm. So it will be fine. Same thing with the pressure. For example, when I make broth, I usually cook my bones for 3 hours, 2.5 to 3, kind of depends on what kind of bones I have in there. And then we'll leave, be gone all day. And it takes a really long time for broth for the pressure to come up because it's so full. The more that's in there, the longer it will take for the pressure to come up, and the longer it will take for the pressure to come down. So it takes a really long time for the pressure to come down naturally, but then it just switches to keep warm, and it's just still all sealed in there, really, really hot, and totally fine to go all day. Okay, so it's not going to just completely turn itself off. All right, let's make hard-boiled eggs. So, like I said, you always want liquid in the bottom, and it's not a specific amount, okay? So I'm going to make eggs, and I'm going to put them on my trivet. So I put the trivet in, and I just pour water to cover the bottom. I don't want water to touch my eggs, really. I mean, it would be fine if it did, but I just want water to go all across the bottom. Yeah, that's good. I'll just pour the rest of that in. That was just a little over a cup. I usually do 18 at a time. I'm only going to do a dozen today. And I have seen people really fill up their Instant Pot to the top with eggs, but then they're not cooking super evenly, so I really wouldn't recommend that. There is a max fill line. You need to obey that. Your pot will probably not seal, and even if it does, it will probably not cook properly if you go above the max fill line, which is a little, okay, so some of them, my pot has measurements on the inside, the number of cups. Some of them do not have that anymore. And then here's my max. Some of them say max 2/3 or something. If they're saying it's like 2/3 of the pot. And it seems to be lower on some of the newer ones. So maybe they have decided the max fill should be less. But when I make broth, I want as much as possible. And I put all my bones and my aromatics and things down in there, and then I put water all the way up to the max line. I've never had a problem, none whatsoever. Sometimes if you cook like a really big chicken or something, maybe the tippy top of the chicken is a little bit above that max line, but there's a lot of space around it. Does that make sense? I'm not boiling my chicken and filling the water up to here. It's just like a little bit of the actual meat is above the max line. Fine. But just bear that in mind, okay? I should say, it seems like it goes without saying, but people have made this mistake. You must cook with this pot. You cannot cook directly in here. This down here is the heating element. You will ruin your pot, and you will be very sad if you just pour liquid in there, okay? You must cook inside this pot. And again, mine is 3 years old now, and I scrub it with like a scrubby thing to clean it, and it's fine. It's really fine. It's stainless steel. You're not going to hurt it, and it's going to last you forever. And make sure you use it, okay? You must use this. All right, so I have my eggs in there, I have water, and I'm ready to cook. All right, so when I'm ready to cook, I need to check. Your pot will come with this sealing ring. If yours is new, yours is probably pretty clear, sort of like a creamy color. Mine is old, so it has discolored a little bit, and it will retain smell. Mine is smelling, I don't know, like some kind of soup. It's okay with me. Some people that really bothers them, and they buy new sealing rings regularly. You really don't need to. Mine, like I said, I've had it for 3 years, and it still seals perfectly. Okay, you just want to make sure, see this, there's this metal bar here. And you want to make sure that you get this sealing ring all the way. There's a little like notch in the middle of it, and you want that bar in the middle. This little piece right here, this little metal cap comes off and you can clean under there. We don't do it very often. When my husband does dishes, he does that, but I don't do it very often, and it's fine. But it can get clogged, and if it clogs, then you're going to have trouble sealing. So if you're having trouble, your pot is not sealing, and you have checked your ring, you've checked everything you know to think, it might be this. It might be time to pull that off and clean it. Okay, so my sealing ring is in, and then see there's this ledge right here, and there are even arrows. Are those arrows? They look like arrows to me. You put your lid on. I was just testing. Yeah, you put it on the left side, push it down, and then push it over. There's a little pin on the back. See this? It doesn't really lock in. And a few times my pot has not sealed, and I've not had it, I mean, like a millimeter off, and it didn't seal. So make sure it's pushed all the way over. Okay? So you've got your ring in, you've got your lid on, you've pushed it all the way over. And then you have this. Oh, I took it off. Okay. This throws a lot of people off. It is supposed to be kind of loosey-goosey like this. But it does come off. So if you take it off to wash, make sure that it's pushed back on. Push it down as far as you can push it down. And then you want to move this little knobby over to sealing. And it's not going to come undone. I remember I thought, is it going to stay? It's just loose. It doesn't lock in. No, it does not lock in. It just stays over there. I believe when you make yogurt, you do not seal it. I think that's correct. But just make sure you, again, follow the instructions for the recipe that you are making. This is my little pressure indicator floater. It's this stainless steel piece of metal. And when it comes under pressure, that will come up. So you know when that's down, you're not under pressure, and you can remove your lid. Okay? When it's up, it's under pressure, and you cannot remove your lid. Okay? We're ready to go. So I'm going to use manual high pressure 4 minutes. So I just press manual. Say I want low pressure, I would just hit pressure and go to low. But again, we don't want low pressure. And then I press the minus button to get down to 4. And that's all I have to do. So it says 4. Once those 10 seconds are up and I don't have any more opportunity to adjust it, it switches to on. Okay. Make sure I put that back over there. It will say on until it's come up to pressure. And then it will start counting down. So don't think, oh, where did my time go? I had 4 minutes on there. The 4 minutes are still there. It's just coming up to pressure. I don't have a lot of volume in there. I just had that cup of water and the dozen eggs. So it's going to come up to pressure in, I believe it's 3 to 4 minutes. And then it will cook for 4 minutes. And the pressure would come down also quickly. But because I don't want my eggs to be overcooked, I want to quick release the pressure. And I will show you that. While that is coming up, let me talk about some errors, or how to know if something is going wrong with your Instant Pot. I'm hoping it will do it. I'm not sure if it always does it or just when there's a lot of volume in there, but we'll see. While it is sealing or coming up to pressure, some steam usually comes out. The top of the knob, those 3 little dashes, that's where the steam comes out. It doesn't come out of here, it comes out of here. So the steam comes out of these little knobs at the top. While it is sealing or coming under pressure, or the pressure is coming up, you'll hear that people say that in different ways, pressurizing, some steam usually will escape from that knob. Don't worry, that's supposed to happen. However, once your clock starts counting down, your pot should be sealed. So if steam is coming out and your clock is counting down, your pot has not sealed, or pressurized, and something is wrong. This has happened to me 3 times. It didn't give me an error. It just was still releasing steam, which means it wasn't under pressure, right? Let's think about the physics of that. If it was under pressure, no steam will be coming out. Pressure will be building in there, right? So if steam's coming out and your clock's counting down, your pot's not sealed, you would just hit cancel. It's not going to explode on you. Don't worry. Nothing bad is going to happen. Just hit cancel. It's not sealed anyway. And then unlock it, take your lid off, and check it. Check your seal. Sometimes if you have, say, browned a bunch of meat or vegetables and you've built up that fond on the bottom of your stainless steel pot and you did not deglaze your pan, release that fond, it will not seal. So make sure if you're using saute and you're browning that you're always adding liquid anyway, right? Right, yes, always adding liquid, that you're taking the time to scrape that fond off, and that will make your pot seal properly. So check that, and then otherwise just make sure you have put the lid on all the way over, and that your knob is on sealing. And then it's really very foolproof. It is not going to explode. It will malfunction in some way. Does that make sense? If everything isn't exactly right, it's not going to come under pressure. So there's no reason to worry about that. You have 3 ways to release the pressure, and you'll probably see them written this way in recipes: a natural release, or a quick release, or like I call it a half and half, where you let it naturally come down for a few minutes and then you quick release the rest of the pressure. That's actually very, very common. I would do a full natural release, meaning you just let the pressure all come down by itself. Can you hear it? It's been getting hot. The water's been getting hot, and there's steam. Okay, can you see the steam right here? Okay, it's not counting down yet. My indicator floater is still down. It's not under pressure. Can you hear it? When I'm making broth or soups, I will do a complete natural, or anytime I just have all the time in the world and I'm not worried about what's inside overcooking, just let it naturally release. You're not in any hurry. It's no big deal. Like I said, it'll keep warm. Your food will stay nice and hot, no problem. Quick release on things like eggs or vegetables where you don't want them to overcook. Half and half for like a roast. So the infamous pot roast video, I still don't even know. There are so many comments, so many tips. Well, this is why your roast is tough. But the most common one was you did the quick release. So the way that recipe worked was cook it, quick release it, add vegetables, quick release again. And people said, no, you can't quick release meat. All the moisture comes out of it and then it's not tender anymore. Yes, like poultry, pork, that definitely has an effect. With beef, yes, that's still valid, but I think it's not quite as important. That was a super tough piece of meat. But anyway, with a big roast, I would let the pressure come down at least 10 minutes and then quick release it. If you can let it completely natural release, do that. If not, 10 minutes is, in my experience, always enough. And then you could quick release the rest and get on with your recipe if you need to. So there's natural release, there's a half and half, and then there's a quick release. And I'll show you how to do the quick release because we're going to do that with our eggs. So I showed you before that these guys have this little thing that you can use to do your quick release. You want to stay away from this because steam can cause a very, very serious burn. So you want to be very careful of that. And I'll show you something else to watch out for when I take the lid off, because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to burn yourself. But my quick release method, and again, thanks to commenters on that very first pot roast video, throw a towel over it, use something with a long handle, and think about what's above you. So I have my lights up here, which I'm not super keen on having the steam go up to them, so I try to move my pot so the steam is not hitting directly on my lights. I have seen some people who have, a lovely window by their, by where they keep their pot. Mine's over my sink. That's not super convenient, but they'll open their window and let the steam out the window. That's great if you're making something stinky like broccoli. There it goes. Okay, so it still says on. My time will show up in just a second. My floater came up, so that means I'm sealed, I'm under pressure, and we should start counting down any second now. Don't make a liar out of me, Instant Pot. Maybe it takes 30 seconds or so. So that took a full minute from the time that my floater came up telling me my pot was sealed properly until the 4 minutes showed up. So if you're doing eggs, you just want to make sure you have a bowl of ice water close by, because you're going to want to submerge them in the ice water quickly so that they do not overcook. And I use these tongs to remove my eggs because they'll be very hot. Okay, be back with you in 4 minutes. This is the great thing about the Instant Pot. If I were boiling eggs on my stove, I would have to be here watching them. They got to come to a full rolling boil. You got to hit that perfect spot, take them off, set your timer, and then don't walk away, because again, to keep your eggs from overcooking, you need to submerge them in ice water. So with things on the stove, I feel like you're just tied to the stove. With the Instant Pot, I can just walk away. Okay, we've got 1 more minute. I'm staying close because I want a quick release. One other thing, while you're cooking, if you're sauteing, the stainless steel pot, the rim around the top, you can touch that. It's not going to be hot. It'll only be hot at the bottom. So if you watch some of my recipe videos, you'll see me spin it or sometimes pick it up and kind of, scrape the bottom. That's totally fine. You can touch that with your bare hands. Once it's been under pressure, that whole pot will be hot, and you'll want to use hot pads to remove it. Actually, I'll grab a couple so I can show you how easy that is to do. I think I've covered all the basics, the questions that have come up, the problems that people have, a little bit of troubleshooting, ways that you can use your Instant Pot. Let me talk about the slow cook function just a little bit more. Like I said before, it isn't super powerful. So if you find a typical crock pot recipe that says 4 to 6 hours, you're probably going to want 6 to 8 hours. Or like my crock pot was, the keep warm was still super hot. So it just was really powerful. The Instant Pot slow cook is not that powerful. If I'm cooking something like a bunch of chicken breasts, say like salsa chicken breasts with salsa and cream cheese, something like that, that would be fine on the high setting, the more setting, for about 5 to 6 hours. Whereas that might be done in 2 to 3 in a regular slow cooker. So just know you're going to have to increase your time and increase your level with the slow cook in this one. And the slow cook less, which would be their low level, is like not even keeping warm. It's really not very powerful. I would not slow cook on low. I would just have it keep warm. Okay, so it's done. I expected it to beep. It didn't beep. I wonder if I messed it up by turning that off. Okay, but I want to quick release. So I put the towel on. This is when you dance, you embarrass your kids, make your husband laugh when he's editing the video. I'm going to remove the towel so you can see the floater drop. The bulk of the steam was out, so it's fine. If you have little kids, pets, you might want to have them out of the room if you are quick releasing. There it goes. Okay, so there's condensation in this lid, and it's hot. It will burn you. So use your towel, and when you turn it upside down, some of that hot liquid can still come out of here, and it can also drip from here. That will burn you. So just use the towel, carefully remove it, and then look. Not all versions have that, but this version has the handles with the slots, and these little guys fit right in there. So when I get my eggs out, usually I put about twice as much ice in here, but I was trying to be fast. So this one cracked. You know, occasionally one will have a little hairline crack in it before I cook it, and it'll crack open, but it's fine, it's fine. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'll eat that one for breakfast. So just submerge them in the ice water. That helps to stop the cooking. The reason I would go to the, some might say, trouble, let me get them all, to cook my eggs in the Instant Pot is because they peel so easily. Yes, it's nice to be able to walk away, but it's only for a few minutes. Now, I stood here and I talked to you while it was coming up to pressure, so that took 3 or 4 minutes. So I could have had 8 minutes to go, I don't know, teach a kid something, run around the block, put some laundry in the dryer. You know, you could walk away for a few minutes. But the big reason is because your eggs will peel so nicely. You know, they say the fresher your eggs, the harder they are to peel when you boil them, of course. You can't peel a fresh egg. But Instant Pot hard-boiled eggs peel so beautifully. I mean, really, they're like little jackets. They're just like shrugging them off. This one's funny. I can see the yolk is way at the side. Let me cut it open and show you how beautiful they are. Perfectly done. Perfect. I've seen people do their eggs for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I like 4. 4 seems to be perfect for me. No gray ring and cooked all the way through. So there's your Instant Pot basics with a bonus, how to make hard-boiled eggs. Let me fish out that one that cracked because I will eat those for breakfast. If you have questions, if you have a concern that I did not cover, leave me a comment. I would be happy to address that for you. My parting words would be, don't be afraid of your Instant Pot. It can make your life really easy. If you have, if you're looking for recipes, ways to use your Instant Pot, I have lots and lots of them, lots and lots and lots. And like I said at the outset, they're all gluten-free. Most are also dairy-free, or I at least give you an option for dairy-free. We eat naturally around here. We keep our autoimmune disease in check with diet and lifestyle, so that's the way we're eating. You're never going to find a regular gluten-y recipe on my website. If that appeals to you, I'd love it if you would subscribe. My channel has really grown a lot this year. I'm super thankful for that. And I'd love to have you part of our nice little community over here. So again, I'm Elizabeth. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoy your new Instant Pot, and I hope to see you again soon.